Before we jump into today's math problem, let's take a brief moment to relax and focus on our breathing with a short meditation. Gently close your eyes. Take a deep inhale through your nose. And slowly exhale also through your nose. On the next deep inhale through your nose, notice your lungs filling, and slowly exhale through your nose. On the next deep inhale through your nose, send the breath to any parts of your body that may be feeling tense. And as you exhale slowly through your nose, feel that tension release. On the next deep inhale through your nose, feel your spine growing nice and tall. And at the top, hold your breath for a few seconds. And see how slowly you can exhale through your nose, savoring that breath. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. This multiple choice problem comes from the College Board. It's from section 3 of the SAT math test, which does not allow calculators. And the problem says, a group of 202 people went on an overnight camping trip, taking 60 tents with them. Some of the tents held 2 people each, and the rest held 4 people each. Assuming all the tents were filled to capacity and every person got to sleep in a tent, exactly how many of the tents were 2-person tents? So give this problem a try, and in a minute, we'll have a look at it together. For this problem, you could apply a strategy that we've reviewed in earlier videos called Try-C. The answer choices are in order from smallest to largest or largest to smallest, so this is a good candidate for that trick. And if you want to learn about that strategy, just go ahead and view those earlier videos. I want to use this problem for showing you a really powerful shortcut, and it entails looking at the last digits of the numbers in the problem and the numbers in the answers. We'll start by organizing the information. So we have different sizes of tents. We have some small tents and we have some large tents. They hold a different number of people. The small tents each hold 2 people, and the large tents each hold 4 people. And I have a certain number of tents of each size. Okay, the question is asking, how many tents are there? I know that I have a total of 60 tents, and I have a total of 202 people. This is where the fun starts. Let's look at the last digit in the answers. So I have a 0 for A, a 0 for B, a 9 for C, and an 8 for D. So let's test those values. Let's start with A and B first, because 0 is an easy number to work with. For the number of small tents, it's going to be either 30 or 20, but it's going to be a number that ends in 0. 30 and 20 both end in 0. Okay, I have a total of 60 tenths, and the number of small tenths ends in 0. So for the number of large tenths, what would its last digit be? Well, it's going to be 0 also, because 60 minus a number that ends in 0 is going to give you a number that also ends in 0. Okay, so now let's look at the total number of people. For the number of people in small tenths, if I had 2 people in each tenth times a certain number of tenths that ends in 0, how many people would I have? What would the last digit be of that value? Well, it's going to be a number that ends in 0 as well, because 2 times 0 is 0. Okay, let's look at the large tenths. If there are 4 people in each, and I have a number of tenths that ends in 0, what would be the last digit for the total number of people in large tenths? That's going to end in 0 too, because 4 times 0 is 0. I don't know what the earlier digits are. So let's add the number of small tenth people and the number of people in the large tenths. What's the last digit going to be of that sum? It's also going to be 0, because 0 plus 0 is 0. And I don't know what the other digits are. So the result we would get is a total number of people that ends in 0. But we're told that the total number of people is 202. So that means that having a number of small tenths that ends in 0 won't give us the correct result. So at this point, we can eliminate A and B. We can try C or D. I'm going to try D because 18 for me is a little easier to work with than 9. And here the process is the same. We're testing 18, so the number of small tenths ends in 8. So what would be the last digit for the number of large tenths that I would have? Well, 60 minus a number that ends in 8 is going to be a number that ends in 2, right? Okay, now let's look at the total number of people. What's the last digit going to be for the number of people in small tenths? Well, I have 2 people in each tenth times some number that ends in 8 for the number of tenths. So that's going to equal a number that ends in 6. What would the last digit be for the number of people that I have in large tenths? Well, I have 4 people in each large tenth, and I'm multiplying that by a number that ends in 2 for the number of tenths. So that's going to be a number that ends in 8. So when I add the number of people in small tenths and the number of people in large tenths, what's the last digit going to be? It's going to be a 4, because 6 plus 8 is 14. And again, our target is 202 people. So we know that D cannot be the correct answer. So at this point, we know that through process of elimination, C is the correct answer. So just to practice this strategy again, let's apply this same trick to 19. So if 19 were the number of small tenths, that number ends in 9. And how many large tenths would I have? What would be the last digit of that number? Well, 60 tenths minus some number ending in 9 for the number of small tenths is going to give me a number that ends in 1 for the number of large tenths. So let's look at the total number of people. For small tenths, I have 2 times 9, so that's going to give me a number that ends in 8. For the number of people in large tenths, I have 4 times 1, which is going to be a number that ends in 4. And when I add all those people up, I'm going to get a number that ends in 2, which is in fact what I have in the target value of 202. So I've confirmed that C is the only answer that produces a total number of people that ends in 2. Now, of course, I can do the actual mathematics and put 19 in for the small number of tenths, find the large number of tenths, and compute the total number of people to see that I actually get 202 as well. I hope you enjoyed seeing this strategy. I look forward to seeing you next time.